rightfully so, the way that we report on heterosexual public figures' lives, and without asking if they want it reported, and their divorces and their marriages and everything get reported on, because if we don't, it's a dirty secret. So I've always felt that it's not just about his exposing somebody who did something horrible, because to me that's using this as a weapon in a way, and that in journalism it really should be about normalizing, equalizing reporting on heterosexuality and homosexuality. I think Mike sees it more as something about people who are doing a lot of harm. So I think, you know, when you mentioned Donna Brazil, that's where Mike would probably disagree.
And, you know, different people, in terms of those different standards, people say to me, what do you think of Perez Hilton, you know, taking it to the extreme of outing, you know, Neil Patrick Harris and all that? And I say, I don't do that. I get it. I understand why kids should know. But my goal is that people will come out in those worlds and serve as positive role models. I'm not convinced that you're a positive role model when you're dragged out of the closet. I've gone up to Donna Brazil and encouraged her to come out of the closet publicly. I haven't seen her damage yet, and I do understand why Mike does that.
I think you just outed Donna Brazil. I have no idea.
See, but that gets to my point. We should be able to talk about these people, and in this larger media culture, we should, and that's why, I mean, that's why the blogs and the internet has changed that dramatically, because we are all talking about it. And if the bloggers themselves are, and in the comments everybody's talking about it. So there isn't this policed culture anymore around homosexuality, but that is what the mainstream media has done and continues to do. I mean, they will not report on any public figure, whether it's a Hollywood figure or a Washington figure, about their gay life if they're not out, but they'll report every intimate detail about heterosexual public figures' lives. And some people say, well, they shouldn't be doing that. Well, fine, start a campaign to stop them from doing that. But when you only say that's okay, it's not okay to talk about the gay ones, that is a double standard.
Gregory?
There were two politicians that were featured in the film, two Republican politicians, David Breyer and Charlie Crist, who even though they're clearly publicly seen as being closeted gay men, seem to still maintain strong support from Republican voters and other Republican politicians. What do you think about that? The fact that after they've clearly been identified as closeted gay men, the Republicans seem to embrace them and keep them in their positions. And in Chris' position, he's about to run for the U.S. Senate and will receive the strong backing from the Republicans in Florida. What's going on?
Because I think, and Mike, you can give your point on this, but I believe that the Republican Party is so sort of, they're so confident that the media and that people out there won't believe these outlandish, horrible things unless the public figure actually, admits it, quote unquote. And they'll always want to believe, the public will always want to believe. I mean, there are women who still believe, there are old women who still believe that Liberace was not gay. If it's not acknowledged, and he was outed, right? And sued in Great Britain. So I think the Republican Party is so confident of that they know, as long as these guys say, no, it's not true, the media is not going to go near it. They're going to attack, the media's going to attack people like us, and the public's not going to believe it. They're not going to want to believe it.
Because you've accused them of being gay. It's always as if it's an accusation, like I accuse you of robbing a bank, and I accuse you of being gay. Interesting, in this room, I'm really, just very quick show, who did not think of like Charlie Crist being gay before you came to the movie? Okay? I can tell you, when I go see this with straight auntie, it's straight, and I mean straight, not gay, not progressive, not people who follow, they get up and they're like, oh my God, like the grandmothers that I grew up with in New York, all these Jewish grandmothers who've moved to Florida, they're like, no way, no way. Now, of course, when we came out, they're like, no way. So I do believe it's that they don't know as much as, and in David Dreyer's case, I think in that district, it's like as if, we don't know. But still, when you meet people who have been denying gay lives for centuries, those folks, I do think that they are often floored, yet in here we saw about 4 hands go up.
Yeah, I just want to add, I also think that there's in the culture still, a delineation between the gays who talk about being gay and the ones who maybe we know about, but, they don't flaunt it in our face. And the public's now at the place where, I guess this is some kind of warped progress, that they can accept that. The gays who don't flaunt it, even if we do know, versus the ones we're always talking about.
Kathy, and then you, and then Sarah.
Yeah, I think, well, a couple of things. I noticed that the only women who generally in the film happen to be wives of these men, partly I think because most of our elected officials happen to be men. But I found because of that, the McGreevy situation really interesting. I wondered if you could speak more about that.
Don't get me started.
Start.
A couple of things I think with McGreevy. I thought that, I didn't make the movie, Mike didn't make the movie, I've said publicly, I think that the treatment of Jim McGreevy in the film was wrong. Jim McGreevy has proved, well, 2 things. One, you can make a movie like this and still not have all the facts put out.
Yeah.
Jim McGreevy was married before that. He destroyed another woman's life. He had children in the previous marriage. So to me, to hide that is like, it's as bad. It's a contributing factor. The one thing that James McGreevy has proven to me is that over the course of the past 50 years, if Jim McGreevy was in this situation 50 years ago, he would have stood up and said, I'm corrupt, which he was, or is, to hide the fact that he's gay. Now, he stands up and he says, I'm gay, to hide the fact that he's corrupt. What they don't tell you in the film, what Kirby didn't mention, is the guy in the photo next to him was his boyfriend, who he appointed, completely unqualified, to run the state's Department of Homeland Security. So I think that what Kirby tried to do, and what he explains, I don't want to speak for him, was to have Jim talk about the double-closeted life and all of that stuff. I think all the stuff about, it's about integrity, and I think it's a load of crap. I think that he is exactly where he was. He's off now. He actually was hired to teach a course in ethics. Fortunately,
He's in the seminary.
and he's in the seminary. Go figure. Fortunately, there was just a poll out last bit. There was a poll that just came out in New Jersey. He's actually less popular now than when he was governor before he came out. So I just think that that's interesting. He has not redeemed himself, and I'm totally down with that.
I think with some of the corruption, you can't really separate the closet out of it too. I mean, why did he hire his partner, this guy who he was involved with and sleeping with too? Because he was trying to cover himself in that, he's trying to cover for his closet by hiring the guy for something he's not qualified for. So I think it really is also about the closet contributing to the corruption. And once you're doing something on the sly, it probably isn't, a stretch to do a lot of things on the sly. So I think that's part of it too. And I think also with McGreevy, what to me was, and getting to Mike's point of how, he knew a lot of things were coming and a lot of corruption was going to be exposed. We've all seen what's happened in New Jersey recently. And he used being gay to do it. And I thought it was great that he came out, but I wish he then wouldn't have resigned. I wish he would have said, okay, I'm gay, and now let the voters decide. And then we, may or may not have seen him reelected, but at least he wouldn't have made it into such a negative thing.